Originally known by other names, including Hudson in Lodi, the community ultimately chose the name Oswego, a nod to the New York roots of many of its early settlers. By 1837, what had begun as a frontier outpost was already taking shape as a village with stores, taverns, homes, and gathering places serving the surrounding countryside.
Moved here in 1950 to start my high school career. My father bought Simon's Furniture Company two years before that, because we lived there about 12 years, then got too much work. Graduated from high school, went to college for about half a year, decided I didn't want to do that, came back. My number was going to be up, so I joined the Marine Corps for 2 years. Got out of discharge from the Marine Corps, worked on a couple farms for a while, and finally got a job over here at Oswego Grain Supply, because a lot of homes had coal. And we used to have coal delivered, and I delivered coal most of the time.
What intrigued you to keep track of all this stuff, to go into the long history of Oswego and Kendall County?
Well, I guess it goes back to my family and working on family history. And at the same time, I'd gotten involved with reenacting, historical reenactments, and centering on the fur trade and the Revolutionary War and all that stuff. And when I was researching to get involved with the reenacting, finally sunk into me that we had a long history around here too. We had a long history and interesting around here. And my family was a little bit part of that because they came here in 1852 and settled out east of here in Wheeling Township. Still pretty young. So my friend Dave Dreyer had started the Fox Valley Sentinel in competition with your Oswego Ledger. And so Dave and I had been best friends in 5th grade practically. And so I went down and pitched a column to him. Said, how about if I do a weekly column? And I said, I think there's enough local history. And he said, do you think there's enough to do for a whole year? And I said, well, I think so. So he said, well, write 4 columns and let me take a look at them and we'll see. So I started writing my column in July of 1977.
Wow.
And so I've been doing it now for 49 years.
My family came here in 1835, and it was my great-great-great-grandfather came here from New York and started farming. At one time, we had 3 farms. We had the Sanders farm next to us, our farm, and then we had some land down on reservation. Well, during the Depression, they lost all 3 farms. And my dad and my grandpa bought the farm we're on back from the Gravel Pit Company.
My name is Dennis Richard Figgins. I was born and raised in Oswego, and I'm not afraid to say it, I'm 80 years old. I was born right where we're sitting. This was my house. But my folks moved here sometime between 38 and 39. Well, I want to say one quick thing. Being this was my house, every morning I got up and looked at the end of the old bridge. There was a sign that said 800 people. That's how long that I've been here.
The first memory, well, actually, my grandma's house. Because where the coffee shop is, Jody has the
yeah.
coffee shop there. That living room was my grandma's living room. So it was always neat to go downtown and see Grandma.
What's your fondest memory of Oswego?
Just the freedom we had as kids.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd
We
leave the
played
house in the morning, and if you got hungry, you came home for lunch.
Yeah.
If you didn't, you were home before
Play till
dark.
10 o'clock at night. And
You know, we had the empty lot next door, and that
Yeah.
was where we played football and baseball. And you know, if you hit Mr. Cooper's garage with the ball, it was an automatic out. But yeah, there were a lot of kids in the neighborhood. We had everything right in town within
Right.
walking distance. We
Right.
had the drugstore and the grocery store and the
Dairy Hut
department
and-
store and the dairy hut
Yeah.
and hardware store. It was all on Main Street.
Education has always played a special role in Oswego's story. The Little White School became one of the community's most treasured landmarks, shaping generations of students and serving as a symbol of learning and opportunity. For many residents, their school years provided some of their fondest memories, teachers who inspired them, lifelong friendships, Friday night games, and community traditions. As Oswego grew, so did its schools, yet the values remained the same, investing in future generations and creating a place where families could thrive.
Now, what schools did you go to?
Okay, well, I started out, as I said, at church school. Then came into town and went to the old red brick school. It was located where the bank and the post office are now. And that was a shock. There were more kids in my third grade classroom than had been in the entire church school. Then in 1960, when we were freshmen, they turned that junior high wing into high school classroom space because the growth had really started, that first phase of
Yeah.
growth had really started. And so then we graduated we were the last class to graduate from the old
From Trumper.
high school.
And that's the other thing. When I moved to town, I didn't, and I started high school, I didn't realize that I think a big majority, were all farm kids.
Pretty much.
And we'd be around harvest time or planting time.
You'd be
you
nobody
know,
around.
Wheeler was gone, or somebody else. The folks made them take a week off
Oh, yeah?
and help with the harvest.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the important thing. Of course, they don't have the equipment those days like we do now.
So when you're in high school, what year did you graduate?
55.
Were you a wrestler?
Yes.
And?
Yeah, I wrestled. Yeah, went downstate 3 times.
And?
And my senior year, I won the championship.
State champ.
I went to school here.
Yeah. Which school?
Started first grade.
Which schools?
Which school? I started at a church
Oh my
in
goodness.
the basement. Went from there to Little White School, from there to the Red Brick School. From there, I was the first class in 5th grade in Eastfield. Another thing about Oswego, about why I liked it growing up and being in school, I don't know. I started out probably in 3rd or 4th grade. At homecoming time, they always had a snake dance. And we weaved through town. Of course,
Yep.
the seniors, they went according to class and age. Well, you followed a fire truck. We probably go a mile and a half through town, weaving up and down them streets. And then came
Missed
back,
that.
had the bonfire.
Growing up in Oswego, that really, was so special. We had the worst basketball team around for several years. And in '74, we made it to the state tournament,
That was the
the
best.
final 8. And, growing up, we'd be Mount Vernon, or we'd be Paris, or
Yeah.
we'd be Champaign Centennial, and we'd have our own little state tournament with Mom's kitchen timer, and we'd put a spotlight out there, and we'd play state tournament, because we knew that was about the closest we were ever going to get to a state tournament. Lo and behold, we went to the state tournament, and we beat West Aurora, came back from 15 points down in
Yeah.
the second half. We beat East Aurora, who was ranked in the top 5 in the state, in double overtime. And then we had it easy. We not easy, but we
Right.
won by 15 points over Wheaton Central, or before that, Glenbard South at the East Aurora sectional. And then at the super sectional, they introduced the Oswego lineup, and Crystal Lake who we had played at the tournament without Mike Geyer, and they beat us, thought they were just going to win easily again, and we wound up really giving them a lesson.
Yeah.
They held newspapers up as we were introduced.
Yeah, as far as going to school in Oswego. So I started out going to the Macaulay School, closed after my second year. So it was kindergarten, first, second, and third. And after my second year, it closed and it came to town. But this building, Grace Jones was our teacher. She also played the organ or the piano at church. But we had no indoor plumbing. So there's this pump outside with a handle. It's about this long, and you go out there and pump, and finally you get some water. And it was outdoor plumbing inside the school. If you can imagine that.
Eastview would have been my first school. But I remember I volunteered. Me and Jerry Potts, we were first into Eastview, and they needed 2 boys to raise the flag every morning. And, you know, I'm thinking, okay, I want to get out of this class. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll go. So we got like 10 minutes before class
Yeah.
to go raise the flag, and then like at 3:20 or 3:15, me and Jerry would get out of class and
Yeah.
go take the flag down. But we had to learn how to fold it properly and
Yeah.
everything.